bro. You're good.
All right.
You're listening to WKDW Radio 97.5 and KDWRadio.com. Broadcasting from the Bishop West Real Estate Mobile Tower right here in Northport, Florida. I have a truly special guest on the road tonight. So we've had a couple glitches. We've had a couple adjustments, but he has had to make another journey outside of his songwriter's journey. But I've got CK Kaser in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. So, where are you at right now? Because normally you live where?
Well, I live all over the place, it feels like sometimes. Originally from Sandusky, Ohio. I reside there now, and used to live in Nashville full time, and I still go back and forth, and I go between here, Nashville, and Sanford, North Carolina.
Fantastic. And you're having to run an errand tonight, so we're anticipating you being back on the show.
Yeah.
And we're gonna kind of put it out there a little bit, but probably gonna be August or September when we get this thing scheduled. But you're gonna bring on someone else with you when you come back on the show too, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Fantastic. So
yeah.
What this is really all about is really talking about your songwriter's journey. And I've got some cuts of yours, so we're definitely going to play you some of your music. But
okay,
can you tell the listeners how you got involved in songwriting?
Yeah, I mean, we could start back at the beginning. I had a dad that played college football, and I didn't do too well my freshman year of college. And he said, "You're moving home, getting a job, ditching your friends, and getting a hobby." And the hobby was guitar, and that was it. Didn't know how to play a note. Taught myself, and it turned into something special. It's something I love. And they say if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life.
So with the fact that you started this not knowing how to play, not knowing how to write, what year did you start?
I started in 2001.
Wow. So you've got 22, 23 years in, self-taught on the guitar, and you've got some special people around you. I want to talk about your inner support.
I do. I mean, it's been a fun musical journey for me, just in terms of how it all started. Playing local shows and local gigs. Especially if there's any songwriters or musicians that are out there listening, just don't ever give up. You never know where it's going to take you. Just keep going. But yeah, so I started making trips to Nashville with a gentleman named Brennan Willis, who was in a band called The Undeserving. They were signed to Warner, and he introduced me to a really great producer who had worked on their album. His name's Alan Salmon, and he was with a publishing company called Razor and Tie. And so we started making writing journeys down in Nashville about 2011, and continued to do that for 3 to 4 more years. Majority of my first EP was written in 2011, 2012, and that was all done with Brennan and Alan. And from there, that EP kind of ignited things for me, especially like regionally here in Ohio, and things started to pick up. And so we'd have major artists that come through Ohio, and I had notoriety with a band that I'd put together, just Christian Kaser band, and things kind of snowballed from there. I ended up meeting, I'd have to say, he's my brother from another mother, Taylor Phillips, in my journeys to Nashville. And we just became thick as thieves and best friends. And we got on Craigslist for 3 or 4 months in a row looking for studio space. And we ended up finding a spot on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee. So, and from there, the rest is history. And Taylor's career's taken off tremendously. So,
what is it like to have the combination? And I was blessed to meet both of you, and we'll talk about that here in a bit. But What's it like to have somebody like Taylor by your side, and vice versa? Because in talking with him, I already know how you guys feel about each other. But
Yeah.
what's the value of support in there for you?
It's family, it's that same thing you feel like when you can turn to a brother. you know you ever need something, you have ideas, you can bounce ideas off of each other. You can also have them say, what do you think of this idea, and go start over. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
that's the worst I've ever heard, you can do better. So
So I've about 5 to 6 years I've been going down to songwriters, and it's funny because I started this about 5 weeks ago, and I've now been invited by quite a few. And I don't write, I don't play yet. I'm working on it. You know that. Um, but
yep.
it's one of those things where people get together and they kind of pound out some songs, right? They don't, a lot of songs you kind of go over with each other, don't you? Kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a million ways that songs can start. Generally in Nashville, the grind is like 3 to 4 guys get in a room, and it's, you're scheduling rights, and you're doing 2 to 3 a day, and you're pumping it out. You try to finish a song, or at least a verse and a chorus, to bring back for the next time you get together. And then sometimes you're hanging out at Losers and it's 3 a.m. and you end up back at the studio, especially if you have a private little songwriting studio like we had. And sometimes that's where the best ideas come out.
So I kind of want to talk about that. You are, I want to lay out some steps for people who may have maybe some holdbacks. And I say that because a lot of people, they write their music, they think they've got songs, but they're afraid to share them in fear that somebody might take them.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for somebody? And because even that night that we met, Taylor was looking around real quietly, and we were
Yeah.
blessed to hear some new stuff.
Yeah.
But he was definitely protective of his craft.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be. It is, it's intellectual property, basically, and you could say something in a conversation, or someone could say something in a conversation, and as a songwriter, we're listening generally for 3 words that we can put together as a phrase, and boom, spawn an idea off of that. Especially if it's something that's like, if you could take a 3-word phrase and make it opposite, make it you know,
Hold on, you're fading in just a little bit. I know you're driving, so
you have to be
I
cautious. I'm
we've
in
got to
the
wait for
hills of
your
Ohio here tonight.
yeah, we got to wait for your internet to catch back up. But you were talking about intellectual property, and really having to take your time and kind of secure some things down to make sure that nobody is taking your property. But if you just met somebody and you were going to go over a few songs, what are some of the things that you want to do to kind of protect yourself?
What do I do to protect myself? Well, first thing is, you get with a rights company like BMI. I'm with BMI, so they, if I have a song that gets published, they're securing my rights. And also, we sign publishing deals for that. We're always writing down ideas in a phone. It's time stamped, email, that kind of thing. If you're working together, you know, anything that you can do to protect it, and put it down, put the idea down. A lot of times we're writing just with a simple voice memo app open, so that you have it recorded, you've got proof of it. That's pretty much it, and it generally you work with people that you trust, you know.
So in doing that, because you're with BMI, is that like your protection of people taking that song?
Yeah, I mean, there's no guarantees. When you get to a level of where you're having songs that are published, it can be your word versus someone else's, but you know what I mean?
Yep.
You just,
Well,
it's karma, basically.
and
Do unto others.
here's
You know what I mean?
yes, I do, and I'm actually watching your facial expressions and your body language, and this is not an easy conversation to have, is it?
No, it's not. It's not comfortable. I've never had anybody steal anything of mine. Um, but I've been in some situations where I've seen, some unhappy people.
Well, and the beauty of Songwriter Souls is this is really what I envisioned in the show is the good, the bad, the ugly, but also educating songwriters to take that first step. One, you got to write. Two, you got to play it and get it heard.
Yep.
And three, you got to learn to protect yourself. But you
And
got
get it
to, I
put
think,
down. Yep.
yeah. Well, and I think those are when we talk about things, we're at a different level because you guys are all at a different level than I am. But now that I've been hosting the show and listening to feedback from different listeners, they're all wondering how does it get secured? And I think your instruction of getting with somebody like BMI is the whole key. And the industry right now is ever changing. It's really fluid, isn't it?
Oh, I think,
Oh, you're freezing up. You're freezing up. Well, hold up on that. Hold up on that. So I've got Chris. You kind of froze there. Your picture's frozen, but I hear your voice. Go ahead.
the industry is geared a lot towards TikTok streaming.
So it really has. It's really kind of gone away from the old traditional. And you threw this out earlier. You said we're the payphone guys, but it's changed since the payphone days, right? Good job. Are you back? Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Oh, there you are. There you are.
You did unmute.
Oh, there you go.
All right, we're back.
All right.
Sorry.
The beauty is we are going to have CK back on if you're listening right now. And we've definitely had some technical difficulties tonight, but at the same time, he's doing a really big ordeal for his daughter tonight. At the same time, you're on your way to pick up the dog for your daughter, aren't you?
Yep. I hope she's not. I don't think she is. She's only 7.
Well, hopefully she's not watching.
Yeah, I'm on my way to. No, she's definitely not. I'm on my way to get her a little French bulldog.
So I'm gonna play one of your songs now, just so that we can see if you get into a better zone. I'm gonna play Where I Want to Be. So, do you want to give a little highlight?
That was one of the songs that was written. Yeah, that song was written with Alan Salmon and Brennan Willis, myself. Written and recorded in Germantown in Nashville, Tennessee. Just basically was a song like if you've ever dated someone and you can't get the answer, it's like, man, I'm crazy for you. I need to know. I'm telling you, right here's where I want to be.
All right, let's hear it.
All right.
Oh, cut out.
Did it cut out?
So it did cut out, but that's okay. We're good. So I want to ask you a little bit. I get chills when I hear it. I wonder, what do you feel when you hear that song?
If you want me to be honest, we need to write a new song. Does that make sense? We need to move on to the next one. You're only as good as the next song. Yep.
That the ironic part of that whole thing is that your friend Taylor, I asked him, you remember that night?
Yep, I sure do.
I asked him what was his favorite song. You remember what he said?
The next one. Yep.
But you know what?
That's the frame of mind you have to have. You know, you can't fall in love with your stuff. Right? And where that one came from, there's another one right around the corner. Just get on it and write it.
But I still think there's beauty in the fact that for someone like me, I love listening to it. I love the vibe of the song. And you know, I never pictured hearing you sing it like that. How about that?
Well, that's true. When we met, you hadn't heard me sing, correct?
No,
and
not at all.
You didn't actually hear me sing until the last pop-up show. So,
and you know there's something to be said when you get the right words and the right rhythm. Maybe you got the right solo going into it.
Yep. Melody. It all plays a part in it.
So I'm not going to ask you the same question that I asked Taylor because we just went over that. But do you have one favorite that you wrote for a reason?
You know, my favorite song, probably the one of mine that I connect the most to, that's like true to my soul, is probably The One Who Loves You. You know, I always feel like from a relationship standpoint, I give my all, and you know, I put my heart on my sleeve sometimes, and I put myself out there, and when that song was written, that's who I was. You know, I was the guy that I'm with somebody, but maybe her friends don't like me. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, and that's it. It's like I'm the one, you know, the one who loves you. So. That's
one of your favorites, and why?
Yeah, and that's probably it, because it's the truest to who I was at the time I wrote it. You know, obviously, then God brought a little girl into my life and changes everything. You know, the whole dynamics of life change, and you see the world through different eyes. You know.
So how has that changed your perspective on what you put out into the world now, song wise? How about your daughter's there?
Oh, having her, like, that's a tough question to answer, but it's simple. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like everything changes once you have a child, because now you have a purpose, you know? And the purpose isn't, you know, where before you're thinking, yeah, well, I'm a songwriter or I'm a musician and that's my purpose. Absolutely not. Being a parent is your purpose. Raising that little human being to be the best person possible is your purpose. You know? Did I answer that or no?
No, you did. And I'm going to kind of pressure you just a tad bit on this, but
yeah.
Did your songwriting style stay the same, or did you make some adjustments after she was around because of feeling?
No, yeah, it's evolved. It's evolved quite a bit. I feel like I've gotten more. I've become truer to myself now. Does that make sense?
It does.
I feel like when you're in Nashville and you're kind of vying for that thing, am I going to be an artist? Am I going to be a songwriter? Am I going to be both? You know, you're like you're trying to play to the ears. You know what I mean? Instead of playing to your own ears. And
Yep.
the best thing you could do is from the beginning be true to yourself. And I think having her's done that for me.
You know, it's amazing how many people I've talked to now, and that phrase "be true to yourself." I I almost think that's got to be a T-shirt somewhere in Nashville.
Yeah, well, and it should be. I mean, it should be like
You're
it'll
fading
take a
in and
10-year town and turn it into a 3-year town or a 4-year. Oh, hang on one second. I'm going up the top
yep.
of a hill here. Give me 1 second.
All right, no problem.
Can you hear me good now?
And yeah, absolutely, we're hearing you better.
Okay. What I was saying is it really should be underneath the Welcome to Nashville sign, because you could, being true to yourself could turn Nashville, they call it a 10-year town. It could turn it from a 10-year town into a 3-year town or a 4-year town. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. So I'm going to play another one of your songs, and
Okay.
you've already highlighted why. So I'm going to play the one who loves you. So are you ready for that?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, buddy. Here you go.
All right.
Oh, and it skips. Stop. We're just having all kinds of fun tonight.
Yeah.
There we go.
You want to see what I'm looking at?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Tennessee.
The One Who Loves You. We're talking with Christian Kaser, and you can go to Apple and download his music. He's got 6 wonderful songs that are there. I'm going to tell you, I call them truck ready because my truck has a great sound system in it, and they are definitely truck worthy, truck ready. And I'm going to be making a long drive very, very soon to Columbus, well, up in the Cleveland area. How long are you going
Well,
to be up
we
there?
better get dinner. We better get dinner.
Oh,
I gotta know
dude,
the dates are gonna be up here.
we're getting dinner. We're getting
All
dinner,
right.
and I'm stopping. I'm stopping through Nashville. Hopefully, either on my way up or definitely on my way back.
Okay.
I'm already scheduled to hang out with at least 10 or 15 songwriters that 2 day stretch that I'm going to spend in Nashville. But
That's
I
awesome.
think is Taylor's in he's in South Carolina, right?
Well, no, he's in North Carolina, but he's between both places, so he's usually there for 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. Um, so
So I definitely want to see if I can get with him, even if it's for a short period of time.
yeah,
I want to do like a little selfie with him and talk about
yeah,
when he's going to be on the show and kind of
yeah,
promote that forward because he's one of my well you're my superstar because you're my Buckeye buddy now. So
yeah,
you know
yeah.
this whole thing started because you guys actually met us in the lobby one night at Songwriters. Do you want to give the
That's
overview of that?
that's right. We don't drink, right? So we've been, man. You know, the Songwriters Fest is kind of, it's a special thing to us, and especially to Taylor, because the first year we went, he'd already written a song that was beginning to set things on fire for his world, but there was just no respect coming from anybody. No one paid us any attention, paid him any attention, we were just kind of odd man out, so to speak. Um, and so we take those situations to heart. So now, like when we go down to Songwriters Fest, we can go out and get drunk, but we don't drink. It's kind of silly. We go and we look for young songwriters, up and coming songwriters who are looking to share what they're doing, or if they need advice. And that's how we met. So,
Well,
and actually, I think I met your wife in the street earlier that morning, but we didn't. You know, she looked me up and down. She goes, "I like your outfit."
she did. She did.
Yeah, I
And
remember that.
and the truth is we saw you at Island Dogs, I think, earlier in the day.
Yeah. Yep.
And so our hangout. Anybody who goes to Key West, you got to go to Island Dogs, and you got to say, John Rawlings is here for Songwriters, and he said hello. So make sure you tell everybody at Island Dogs I said hi.
Yep.
I actually, when I was down there, a true story, I decided to finally do this show and get it on the radio while I was at Songwriters, and I ended up wearing my badge from the radio station. And you know, people talk about moments that changed what they were doing. That moment changed the whole outlook of what Songwriters was and was going to be for me in the future. And I had talked about it for 2 or 3 years with everybody. And now that I've pulled the trigger, here we are. And the amazing part is we've made Island Dogs our home for songwriters, and we've made Nashville part of our home, and we're not there. And that's it pays a lot of tribute to, I think, the great people that we've met along the way. The owner of Island Dogs has already promised to come on a couple weeks before and talk about why he supports the songwriters event the way he does, because he literally doesn't have any of his regular performers in. He dedicates that time for the songwriters, which is a really cool venue too. Is that
Yeah.
one of your favorite spots to play down there?
Yeah. I is there a bad place in the U.S.?
Hold on, you're breaking up just a tad. Hold on, just a couple more minutes.
Is there a bad spot? Oh,
Hang in there just a second. When you come back, I'll
can you
let
hear me now?
I think so. Go for it.
Okay. Okay. I was just saying, is there a bad place to play in Key West?
Not that I found.
You know, there isn't. You could be on a street corner. In fact, funny story. There's a kid that I grew up with that was, I mean, he tried out for a TV show and went real far. He's from my hometown. His name's Nick Brownell, and now he resides in Key West, and that's what he does. He's also a songwriter, but he lives down in Key West, performs down there.
All right, you're breaking up, and I just got word that they can't hear the music, and I'm gonna try to figure out why. But you're breaking up, and I'm able to be heard, which is strange that you can't hear the music. But let me see if I can make some adjustments, as I always try to do. We are going to have CK back on. Unfortunately for us, he had to run an errand, so we've now got him frozen on the screen. But, you know, and I'm going to tell this, and he may pop back on here in a minute, but we met at the hotel in the lobby. Taylor Phillips and himself and young lady were sitting there, and Carrie and I had walked in from a long evening of listening to songwriters, a long day of listening to songwriters. And I think I have to put into the mix that it was a long day, but a very special day of songwriters. And we walked into the hotel at the La Concha, and
Yep.
Taylor said, "Hey, can you sit down and tell me your story?" Now, we had our hot pizza in our hands. We hadn't eaten all evening. And we kind of both looked at each other and we're like, okay. So we sat down, and literally we got to that 2 hour point, and I was starting to catch on that I was talking to somebody. And I kept asking.
At that point, it was 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, that was, yeah. Well, and then it became 4 a.m., my friend. And
the pizza was cold.
And the pizza was cold. And you know, it was, I think it was around 3 a.m. that he went and got his guitar.
Yeah.
And then
you met two of the best songwriters in Nashville that night, and I'm not one of them. It was Taylor and John Byron. Remember John Byron walked in?
Dude, I literally am getting chills just for the fact that all took place. And so on this,
and you're like, I remember Taylor's like, "Do you know who that is?" And you're like, "No, who's that?" He goes, "That's John Byron. He's got like 15 songs on the new Morgan Wallen album." You're like, what?
Crazy though. And here's the beauty. I know where this show is going to go. I know the path it's going to take, and I know we're going to pick up momentum. And I'm going to say this again to the listeners. We are having a few technical difficulties. We are going to have CK back on because first off, he's like,
this is where I am.
He's on no man's land.
I'm in the hills of Ohio, and everybody thinks
in the hills of Ohio. And listen, anybody who knows the hills of Ohio, where he's at, there's not good reception.
Mm-mm. There's not even electricity here because I'm in Amish country. So
yeah, well, hey, stop and get us some cheese and a few other things, you know.
Yeah.
Yes. So 4 a.m. happened, and the funny thing is, I panicked. I actually panicked because I think it was 2 days later. I went past y'all's room, and the room was empty. And I told Carrie, I said, "Oh my gosh!" I said, I got no way of getting a hold of these guys. And we had such a good time, and the conversation was amazing, and the music that was played in the lobby at 3 a.m. as everybody's going shh shh.
Yeah, the security guard's like, you guys really need to keep it down.
Yeah, we'll play and sing quieter.
Yeah.
It was truly like one of my favorite Key West stories, because we literally had nothing to drink, and it was the front desk who brought us all over waters.
Yep, they were bringing us waters. Yep.
They brought us waters after the security guard told us to quiet down, and and you know, that's what happens when you. I think when you let your guard down and let people just get involved in the conversation. But
I'm watching you on YouTube.
Is it good or bad?
It's good. But what
Is
about
it
the guy
good?
who did you mention the guy who just showed up and sat next to
Oh
him?
yeah, we didn't even talk about him.
Oh gosh, yeah. Now he was drunk.
No, he definitely was drunk, and he sat down and had no clue how to handle that.
He was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the problem. And we're
Yeah.
like,
So you know, and then what the funny thing happened? I walked down the steps, and there Taylor was sitting at the bar. Doesn't drink, but he's sitting at the bar in the morning.
Yep.
And I said, oh my gosh! I said, thank God. And he goes, what? And I said, y'all didn't leave. I said, I didn't have a way to get a hold of you. Of course, famous words out of Taylor's mouth. Don't you can't have my number because I'm never going to respond to you. CK, give me your number.
Yep.
That's how I got your number.
Yep.
And
that was Sunday morning.
That was Sunday morning, and
yep.
He said to me, he says, I said, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to do a pop-up. I didn't
we're
even
doing a
know
pop-up show.
I didn't know what a pop-up was until he'd explained that to me. So that was Sunday afternoon, a pop-up show that was amazing.
What about the highlight of the pop-up show? What about the 17-year-old kid that was in the lobby that night telling us his story, albeit 2 sentences, right? And he comes into this pop-up show, and my God, you thought he was at the end of his musical career. He was so good. You're like, this guy's a legend, you know? The kid was amazing. Amazing. He got up on the stage at the pop-up show. Literally, everybody was like this, right? Everybody went just mouths wide open. I'm not going to cuss on you, obviously we're on the radio.
17 years old.
Gosh. Yep.
And
I think what Taylor told him, remember, it was like 95 degrees and he's in jeans and a flannel and cowboy boots. And he goes, buddy, you look like you riding out of town on a rooster.
Yep. But he sang his butt off.
He did. That kid was amazing. Amazing. So
we've got to find him. I know Taylor's probably got his number. I definitely want to have him on the show. And it's Songwriters Souls is not just the music. It's the love that goes into meeting people in the lobby until 4 a.m., meeting a 17-year-old kid and having that happen.
Can I have a comment?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the first time I've been on here. Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't do my hair tonight. I've been teaching all the nursing students today, but some of our friends ask us, they don't understand songwriters. They don't understand us going to Key West to listen to songwriters. They're like, who are you going to listen to? And when we tell them people like CK and Taylor and Bridget, they don't get it. And that kid at that pop-up show, that is the reason we go to songwriters.
100%.
Absolutely, because you're seeing maybe the next big person in the next 5 to 6 years, 5 to 10 years, you know, depending on their trajectory.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know?
And this
and we told you that story too, like
we've ever been to.
Taylor had written Hurricane. Yeah, like the first songwriters we went to, Taylor and Luke Combs and Thomas Archer had already written Hurricane, and it was out. You know what I mean? But that was the weekend that Luke met his wife. You know, we were all together. That's what happens. It's those unique little moments, you know.
Yeah. People, we love the songwriters. You guys make the radio go round. Yeah. Not Fat Bottom Girls.
Well, we appreciate that.
Make the world go round, but
we appreciate that. We appreciate that, man. And there's just so much talent there. It's unbelievable.
So much.
It's unbelievable.
All right,
if you really want to see like some of the finest parts of what Nashville has to offer, you go to Key West.
You do. And the beauty is when we and he just cut out for a minute, he'll be back. But this songwriters events, if you have an opportunity, we went to one in Punta Gorda. They did their first round. They're going to be doing another one, I think, in December. But Punta Gorda did an amazing job with their first round, and listened to a lot of songwriters, a lot of different genres too. So and I want to say this because people get caught up into Nashville just being a country town. I'm going to tell you, it's not just country. You're muted there, CK. So once you unmute, he's going to have to come back. But the different genres, the Joel I had on 2 weeks ago, the fact that he was commenting on how he constructed with different genres all over the world. Music is definitely changing and ever evolving. CK's having some technical difficulties tonight, and I'm going to try to play one more of his songs. In the comments, if you guys can just give me some feedback, if this one is loud enough, I'm going to go ahead and play one of his next songs and let him log back in. But I'm going to play That's What's Up. This is one of my favorites. So I'm going to play this right now, and I'll have him give some feedback on this song here in a second. So I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to list. Going to list the songs that were played tonight. We have had nothing but technical difficulties all night long, but I'm going to promise you something. We're going to have CK back on. His songs are available on Apple. There's 6 songs there. I'm telling you, I haven't heard a bad one yet. And his next one is always his favorite one. That was from his friend Taylor Phillips. And next week's show, I'll talk about that now. Next week's show is going to be fun. I've got one guest scheduled next week, Kimberly Burke. I'm working on filling that venue up. On the 6th, I've got Anthony Billups and Eric, and then Kiefer Wiley on 7/13. I'm going to be posting the schedule. If you know any songwriters that are out there, have them call me, 941-391-4663. Songwriters, get a hold of me. We're going to make this a great ending to a year. And 2024, we're going to start blowing it out of the water. We're going to have some changes. We're going to have some good, listen, they're all great songwriters. How about that? They're all great songwriters, but we're going to step our game up across the board. I promise you that. First show with technical difficulties, and I don't think it went that bad, but give me some feedback. I appreciate it. You can text me, 941-391-4663, or just shoot me a comment on my Facebook page. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a blessed night and drive safe. Bye-bye.